Hey guys, All in Crypto here and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, for another YouTube video. In this video, we're going to take a look at Chainlink. We're really going to be diving into the charts, guys, and telling you what they are telling us. They look absolutely great, certainly when we switch to a weekly. I mean, this just looks like the stairway to heaven right here, guys. You know, it looks like your golden ticket, in my opinion. You know, we have very, very high hopes for Chainlink. You know, we did predict that Chainlink was going to reach around about $375. Perhaps by the end of this cycle, whether that's this year or very, very early January, if we follow the Bitcoin 4-year cycle theory and altcoins kind of stick to that. But ultimately, Chainlink is seeing some well-deserved price appreciation, in my opinion. For those of you who don't know what Chainlink is, very, very quickly we'll go over it. Chainlink essentially is an Oracle network. Now, blockchains have an inherent problem, a lot of them, and that is that they can get hold of on-chain data, but they can't actually get hold of off-chain data. So for example, let's say a smart contract was to execute when the temperature hit a certain degree in a country or a city. They couldn't actually get hold of that data. So what Chainlink will do is it will onboard that off-chain data onto that chain, and it will allow that smart contract to execute. So essentially, Chainlink is one of the main reasons the DeFi space exists. Chainlink is a key player, and we make sure to keep saying this on every single video, and you see we are going to have an upgrade, Chainlink 2.0, which is going to bring a lot more to Chainlink, and we're going to see the entire DeFi space grow as a result of it and get more efficient. Chainlink is one of the key players in the cryptocurrency ecosystem. It is fantastic. When you think about an Oracle, you know, in a kind of not blockchain sense, an Oracle would be somebody you go to for information. Chainlink is essentially that, guys, and they are a very, very valued project, very, very used project, and they actually have a market cap of $20.4 billion. So Dogecoin probably at this point will maybe perhaps get to $100 billion in terms of market cap, and right now it's currently sat at 85. It just goes to show you just how undervalued this project is. DeFi, there was Sergey himself, I can't remember his second name, Naz something, off the top of my head. He essentially came out and he was talking about the fact that he believes DeFi is essentially going to 10x and go to around about $600 billion. You know, I think this market still has a lot of capital to flow into it. And ultimately, guys, I think a coin like Chainlink is going to appreciate pretty significantly as a result of it. And we know that DeFi should be a lot bigger than it already is. It's as simple as this. On this hand, you have a good deal. On this hand, you have a bad deal. I'm going to ask you to pick one. And this is DeFi. This is the traditional financial system like banks and stuff like that. DeFi, your APY, if you lock your money up or you give your money to a protocol or you decide you want to kind of yield farm or whatever it is, even if you just want to have a kind of stable, steady APY, on a kind of low end, you're looking at like 6+%. With a bank, you're lucky if they give you maybe 0.5% right now on your money. And, you know, inflation is more than that. So the CPI is around about 3%. So you're perpetually losing money. It's not a good hedge. And one of the only reasons that DeFi hasn't blown up and is still as small as it is really due to education. People are largely not very comfortable with it. They don't know how to use it. This is going to change over time. And it's like everything. When the internet first came out, guys, people were a little bit weary. Who was it I was listening to, and he was talking about the fact that whenever there's a new technology, there's always skepticism. There's always people that say, you know, this is the devil's work, or this is, a bad thing. Until people really get familiar with it and they kind of work the ins and outs of it out and get acquainted with it, and then it kind of becomes a staple, like something like the internet or, you know, mobile phones or something like that. And like I say, DeFi is a good deal. You know, I've made some serious APY and am currently... I have risky DeFi and I have not so risky DeFi that's pretty secure, like, you know, where I lend out tokens or I provide liquidity, which is more sort of risky. There's a lot going on, guys. We're not going to jump into the whole kind of DeFi space, but ultimately a large part of DeFi has been enabled as a result of Chainlink, and it's so valuable. Now that you have Chainlink 2.0 coming up, this means they're going to essentially 10x their kind of data input, their data accessibility. It's going to become more of a fair and decentralized platform. Sorry, guys. They're going to allow something called hybrid smart contracts, which is huge. There's so much going on, guys. And ultimately, you know, when you look at things like insurance and stuff like that, I believe in the future that is going to be largely ran on DeFi, and that is going to be executed in the form of smart contracts where you have a set of criteria that is met. If those criteria are met and that off-chain network like Chainlink has onboarded that off-chain data to the chain and agreed that, and that criteria essentially gets met, that would execute the smart contract and you would get a payout and stuff like that. I think this is going to be huge, guys. That's really what I'm trying to tell you. And ultimately, I think the price of Chainlink, as the DeFi space grows, there's an inevitability that Chainlink, in terms of its price, is going to grow. So let's look at the charts, guys, which is probably what a lot of you come here for. That was me rambling on. I need to say stuff like that because it is super, super important that you understand where this is all going. Blockchain technology is absolutely huge, guys. So this is the weekly chart on a logarithmic scale. We can switch it off a logarithmic just so you can see. I like to use the log scale just because it kind of marks things in percentages, and it quietens everything down and really gives you a kind of accurate view of where things are going. Now, any kind of TA guy, and I'm really a novice TA guy, would look at this and they would instantly say, look, this is trending upwards. This is in a bullish pattern of continuation. How do you know that? Well, what you're looking at, guys, is you're looking at these highs. And you are looking at these lows, guys, essentially. And what you're seeing is you're seeing higher highs and higher lows. So if your lows and your highs are higher than they previously were, that means essentially you're in a bullish continuation pattern. Ignore the wicks, guys. A lot of people say, oh, well, what about the wicks? You know, you could wick down for a number of reasons. You could wick down because of a liquidity shortage on a platform. Or, you know, there could be a big kind of sell pressure whale that kind of comes in and forces that wick down, even though one guy's essentially determined, you know, how low something goes. So you can see here, guys, you're just making higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows, higher highs, higher lows. And I think this is going to continue. You are literally riding this EMA and kind of piggybacking on it. And you're going to continue to do it. And you're just going to keep coming down and kind of using it as a bit of a springboard with the occasional sell through it that, in my opinion, is just going to be met on the other side with as much buying power as there was in terms of sell pressure. And I want to take you to a daily. Very, very revealing. This is a common trait right here that you see, and I always look out for this. We are looking at Cardano right now and saying that you could be having something like this form, although we haven't had that kind of buying confirmation kind of take place yet. But we may get it. You can see here, guys, it's a common trait before you make some sort of a parabolic move. Your sell pressure, what it's doing here, and when it kind of, you know, the sellers for a very brief period kind of take over, and what happens is they run out of steam, essentially. That sell pressure is essentially released with this sell-off before your buying pressure takes place. And I just want to make this point very apparent to you. Lots of people that are new to the space don't understand, you know, they like me when I first got into it, they look at these kind of products, they look at blockchain technology and they go, this is the future. Why is this thing just not going straight up in price and continuing to appreciate non-stop? Well, that's because you have traders involved, you have people that are looking to take profits, you have people that are looking to accumulate, you have so many different variables. You have people that get liquidated, you have leverage positions. This will all affect, essentially you have people trying to squeeze every single little penny that they can, or every single little cent that they can out of this market and, you know, trade it essentially and take profits and try and mitigate other things. So that's why you have this kind of choppy action. And really what it is it's a tug of war between the buyers and the sellers. And here you can see that the buyers essentially won that tug of war. The sellers at one point were in the were doing very well, and then essentially the buyers, you know, took over. So the daily looks very healthy. The weekly looks exceptionally healthy. It's what we love to see. You know, it's really that stairway to heaven kind of pattern that we like to see. And on the 4 hourly, I mean, wow, guys, you know, you're essentially doing what we've previously done. You can see this move over here. You're doing that right now, guys. You are running away from this EMA, and like I say, we do like to kind of ride up it. However, that's absolutely perfectly fine. But what you are going to get is you are going to get an equilibrium with it at some point, and it will, in my opinion, look similar to this. So we are going to run for a bit. I think we could get, certainly I would say perhaps up to anywhere from 50, if I was to put a target on it, maybe 55 all the way up to, you know, 60 dollars in this move. And then I think we're just going to continue. You are, because we have done a lot, probably going to experience a red candle. Part and parcel, guys, at the end of the day, you know, Chainlink's done an awful lot over the couple of days. You don't just want this to go straight up. You do want those sellers along the way to kind of lose momentum. And ultimately, Chainlink has such a bright future. That's why I made sure at the start of the video to, you know, kind of affirm your beliefs and kind of give you reasons to be bullish on this project. It's huge, guys. DeFi is going to be huge. Like I say, you have a good deal, which is DeFi, and you have a bad deal, which is centralized governments, banks, institutions that, you know, really are very greedy and only really care about themselves. Whereas DeFi, there's no bias. you know, the technology isn't benefiting, if that makes sense. So whereas you in the kind of traditional world, it's a human being that will be on the other side of that, providing those services that will benefit as a result of it. The technology, that's exactly what it's there to do. So a human being wants to make as much money. The technology has really only a couple of purposes, and that is to fulfill the role that you've given it. It's great. I mean, I don't think people really understand what we're going through here. We're going through like a renaissance in many respects. And this technology is absolutely changing the world. Now, what I want to do, guys, is I want to talk about Bitcoin. And it's looking a little bit sick. And I mean sick in the bad, in the unhealthy kind of sense, not the other sense. I don't mean it's wicked. It's not looking great. We've been watching it for a while. It does look like it's rolling over to me. We had this inverse head and shoulders that we've been watching that we said, yeah, it was validated. We need to keep going. We don't want to lose steam here. Because essentially, if we did lose steam, you have another head and shoulders that could be playing out, that could lead to a spiller. And we do have targets there. Everyone's shouting out that $43,000 range. I don't think we can go as low as that. I think there are a number of other ranges that we could get to. I think round about 46,000 and 47,000 are really ones to watch. You know, if you look here, we wicked very, very closely. Let's take that off auto and move you away from my big, beautiful head. We did wick right down to that 47. We did kind of off that see a pretty significant move to the upside. So that does make me somewhat think, if we count the wick, and when we ran out of steam, you know, you did see like a 16% bounce off that. So yeah, it's not looking great. Ultimately, we know the entire market is tethered to Bitcoin. It doesn't have to do that. It could shake this off. It could kind of, you know, decide that it's, you know, done having a bit of a temper tantrum and, of course, go the other way. But ultimately, right now, guys, it does look, you know, we're almost forming that right shoulder. And head and shoulders do not have to get validated whatsoever. What you could do is you could continue to come back up. You could pop out the other side of this EMA. The EMA could turn, and you could continue to, you know, ride that EMA up. That is absolutely a possibility. It does not have to sell off. It doesn't have to roll over. But ultimately, and we've pointed this out on every single video that we've done, regardless of the coin, and it's the same reason that we're on a Chainlink video talking about Bitcoin, is because the market's largely tethered to Bitcoin. Chainlink has less correlation to Bitcoin, by the way. If you look at days when Chainlink's not having a good day, you know, Bitcoin tends to be doing all right, or vice versa. If Bitcoin's having a bad day, Chainlink seems to kind of show more relative strength than the rest of the market. But what we did say we'd like to see when we map out Elliott wave theories and we map out how we think this market is going to work, we would like to have seen us come a little bit further down to our EMA. You know, lots of people saying we were going to sell off to it. That's where they were getting that kind of 43,000 range. We said, no, that's not going to happen. You know, for those of you who've been watching the channel for a while now, we essentially said that this EMA is going to come up, and you were going to find an equilibrium somewhere here. Before then, the EMA kind of takes you up, and we start to, you know, this market starts to get rocking and rolling again, which is coming, by the way. You know, we've said Bitcoin over $100,000. I think we largely undershot that. We got that from looking at prior cycles. You know, 2013 was like 100x, 2020 was a 20x, 2017 was a 20x, 2021 we said, you know, could be a 5x from where we were at the time, which was like under 20,000. We have largely underestimated, I think. So much to flow into this market, guys. When you look at the fact that we are only still 2.2 trillion dollars in terms of market cap, it's my belief that we're going to get from anywhere to $8 to $11 trillion, and we could go beyond that depending on what happens. You know, you have a lot going on in the space right now, and ultimately what this video is about was kind of, you know, Chainlink, regardless of what it does on a shorter time frame, you know, a pullback to this EMA or an equilibrium to this EMA is going to happen at some point, and whether that's now or whether the EMA continues to go up. But you're in Chainlink really for its fundamentals and what it does. Before you look at any charts or anything like that, when you're looking at a project, what you want to look at is what does it do? Is it useful? Is it used? What are the use cases for it? What's the kind of value proposition that it offers? Chainlink ticks pretty much every single box. And ultimately, as DeFi grows, with the kind of education that surrounds it and people getting more comfortable and dipping their toes in and finding that, hang on a minute, this isn't all, you know, pirates trying to steal your money or whatever, you know, the space will grow. So you have an inevitability that Chainlink is going to grow with that, and it's going to appreciate in terms of price. Sergey essentially did say it was going to go up to around about $600 billion by the end of the year, perhaps. Imagine what Chainlink's price would be. You know, we spoke about $100 billion, putting us at that $250 mark. We're going to go absolutely straight through that, I do believe. So that is all I have for this video, guys. I've waffled on for long enough. If you've enjoyed the content, a like is always appreciated. Comment, I want to know your thoughts, your concerns. Did you enjoy or not enjoy the content? Just be honest with me, guys, because it does help me grow the channel and, you know, steer us in the right direction. And get subscribed to one of the fastest and realest growing YouTube channels out there. And I will see you all in the next YouTube video, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Thanks a lot.